With me now is national politics reporter for Politico, Eli Stokols. He joins me now from the Politico newsroom in Arlington, Virginia. Eli, so much to get to this morning. I want to ask you, as usual, we thought it would slow down after the election. It certainly hasn't. Well, the president-elect announced this morning that he will publicly lay out his plan to remove himself from the businesses that he owns and avoid conflict of interest. But come on, is this really enough to erase the appearance or the actual conflict of interest that exists here?
Well, we don't know anything about this other than, I mean, based on the headlines that Trump got from, tweeting 3 times that he was going to do this, suddenly there's a spate of headlines that says Trump to, disavow his, to cut ties with businesses. Well, those are great headlines for Donald Trump, but we don't know any of the specifics about this yet. What we know is that he's going to hold a press conference in a couple weeks, and that is something he hasn't done in months. And so that will be an opportunity to press for more details on this. But as far as how he's going to cut ties with all these businesses and, hopefully put Americans at ease about the, dozens, if not hundreds, of potential conflicts of interest that he has or could have as he assumes the presidency, that remains to be seen.
So, Eli, here are what his critics are saying. 3 of Trump's children are set to take control of the organization. They're also members of his transition team. Even if the president-elect is not officially part of business, I mean, how do you separate the fact that his children are still running the business?
Yeah, I don't know if you can. I mean, he's had his daughter Ivanka sitting in on meetings with foreign leaders already at Trump Tower. He has, talked about putting her husband, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, in a very important position. Kushner, of course, served as sort of his top inner circle advisor in kind of an official, unofficial role throughout the campaign. Most people expect that will continue in some capacity. And so it's foolish to expect that if the kids are running the corporation, that Donald Trump won't have some influence over that or some information about what's going on there, because he's not going to cut ties with his children.
Right.
What you understand is that this is a candidate who plays by his own set of rules, has since the beginning of this campaign. It's something that a lot of Americans found refreshing about his brand of politics, and it remains to be seen if they will continue to find that refreshing once he assumes the presidency, especially if he continues to sort of just shrug at a lot of these concerns that are legitimate concerns held not just by the mainstream media that Trump maligns or the elite establishment folks, but that are legitimate concerns that a lot of Americans hold, as to make sure that this is a president who's worrying about the country and not his own financial self-interest.
And a lot of those voters, Eli, are still waiting for some sort of economic recovery to show up in their towns, particularly out in the Rust Belt states. I want to talk to you about the economic team he's put together. Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary, Wilbur Ross for Commerce Secretary. I mean, with these picks, he's clearly chose Wall Street over Main Street. What does this mean for Trump's economic agenda?
I mean, again, it's a huge question mark. There is such opacity when it comes to being able to see what he's actually going to do. Mnuchin, in an interview this morning, was talking about tax reforms that were far different than what Trump had spoken about on the campaign trail. I mean, what we see right now is that this guy who was talking about draining the swamp, who was railing against a globalist cabal of big banks, is filling out his administration with billionaires, millionaires, and picking a lot of people from Wall Street. He's rewarding the people who donated to his campaign. So as far as draining any swamp in Washington, I mean, what we are seeing is, blatant hypocrisy, really, in terms of rewarding people who contribute to his campaign. I mean, I can't tell you how many rallies I was at, whether he was, blasting Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton as being controlled by their donors. Well, so far, it's pretty early in this administration, or this new administration taking shape. But in this transition, we are already getting a pretty clear picture of a president-elect who is, so far, mainly rewarding his biggest donors.
I want to ask you about this deal with Carrier air conditioning company in Indiana. The fact that this company, he's got a big announcement coming. Is this an early win for the president-elect's economic team?
It is. I mean, it's a political win for sure, because he can, pinpoint one situation. He talked about it. He used the bully pulpit of his candidacy to highlight this factory potentially moving its jobs to Mexico. He deployed Vice President-elect Mike Pence to negotiate with them, and lo and behold, they were able to come to some agreement. It's unclear what the details are. We just know that Carrier is going to be getting concessions from the state of Indiana, and for Donald Trump, as far as PR goes, this is a win. He's going to be out in Indiana, I believe, tomorrow, holding a rally and celebrating this. And it looks very good for him. It looks like, a guy delivering on his claim to keep jobs in America. The potential problem is not only does it sort of run afoul of conservative orthodoxy when it comes to letting the free market, run its course, it also starts a precedent and isn't really sustainable as a larger governing philosophy related to the economy, where you intervene little by little in every sort of situation and urge states to basically just roll over and do whatever it takes to keep jobs from leaving. I mean, it is a PR win. I think it speaks to Trump's ability to tell a story, to tell a larger story, and to the power of his bully pulpit. I mean, this is a guy with 16 million Twitter followers who dominates cable news coverage day in and day out. And, if he wants to get something done, he has a pretty good chance of doing so. Whether that's, a net positive long-term, whether that's a pattern that's sustainable, remains to be seen.
I want to ask you before you go, Trump had dinner last night with Mitt Romney. We're seeing reports that Mike Pence is meeting today with former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, who, by the way, was fiercely critical of Trump's campaign. So what signal is Mr. Trump sending by speaking with these never Trump people?
Well, I mean, yeah, and don't forget about Todd Ricketts, who, the Ricketts family, owner of the Chicago Cubs, TD Ameritrade. I mean, they founded and pumped money, $5 million into the Never Trump Super PAC. And now Todd Ricketts, because he also wrote a check to Trump's campaign during the general election, looks to have gotten himself a place in Trump's cabinet. He was just announced that he'll be the Undersecretary, the Assistant Deputy Secretary of Commerce. So, there is a lot of these never Trumpers, not just sort of having conversations with Trump and sort of, showing, sort of semblance of unity, but one already is now inside the administration. I think part of this speaks to, how in Washington, it's the same old Washington. People's principles are never really as strong as their desire to, get in a position of power, to seize power. But I also think that, in Mitt Romney's case, and perhaps with Condoleezza Rice, these are more informal, or at least with Condoleezza Rice, this is more of an informal conversation about what is in store for the next administration, trying to be helpful. With Mitt Romney, you have somebody who's seriously talking about becoming Secretary of State for a president-elect who clearly months ago he thought was unsuited to lead this country, unfit for the office of the presidency. So those are very serious conversations, two guys trying to really figure out if they can work together, both trying to figure out if it's in either of their best interests and in the country's best interests to sort of bury the hatchet and move forward.
Eli Stokols.
That's obviously the most interesting one, and that's the one that we're all watching.
Keep us honest. We're looking forward to see what happens from that. Eli Stokols with Politico. Thanks, Eli.
Thank you.